The most advanced Western fighter jets, including France's Rafale, were just taken out in air combat. But here's the twist. They weren't shot down by American stealth or NATO's best missiles. They were defeated by older generation Chinese jets used by Pakistan. And the most shocking part, China didn't even sell Pakistan its newest hardware. This clash might be the tipping point for global military power. Stick with me until the very end, because the most important geostrategic revelations are saved for the finale, and they'll change how you see the global power game. Overnight, India and Pakistan erupted into a violent conflict, but as we peel back the layers, it's clear this isn't just another border dispute. It's a textbook example of a 21st century proxy war. While missiles flew and fighter jets battled across the skies of Kashmir, what really unfolded was a critical test of global alliances, and more importantly, of military technology. This wasn't merely India versus Pakistan. Behind the scenes, it was the United States, Russia, China, and Europe, all jockeying for influence. And as we'll uncover, one country, China, might have just pulled off a silent but haunting victory. It all started in April, when terrorists stormed a mountainous tourist hub in Indian-administered Kashmir, leaving 26 dead, many of them foreign tourists. The Indian government immediately accused Pakistan of backing the attackers, citing long-standing ties between Islamabad and Kashmiri militants. Just 12 hours later, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi blamed Pakistan and began mobilizing massive airstrikes in retaliation. These were not just surgical strikes. This was full-scale escalation. But here's the first twist. India's sudden aggression happened right after a visit from U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Coincidence? Probably not. After the Kashmir attack, the U.S. Secretary of State and National Security Advisor personally called both Pakistan and India, urging them to cooperate with India's investigation, a clear sign of taking sides. He then called Indian Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar to express strong support for India's anti-terror efforts. This wasn't just diplomacy, it was a calculated move to fan the flames and push India toward war with Pakistan. J.D. Vance made a deliberate visit to India after the tariff war, a visit that likely wasn't just routine, but part of a larger strategy to provoke conflict. Sources indicate the U.S. was offering industrial support to India, a major shift in manufacturing from China to India, but with a condition: India needed to prove it could stand up as a regional hard power by directly confronting Pakistan, China's closest strategic partner. This wasn't about fighting terrorism. It was about using warfare to realign the global manufacturing map, away from China toward a democracy-friendly South Asia. On May 7th, Indian warplanes, including the elite Rafale jets from France, Su-30s from Russia, and MiG-29s, launched coordinated strikes against deep Pakistani territory. Their goal: hit alleged militant sites and send a message to Islamabad. Pakistan struck back, hard, claiming it had downed 5 Indian fighter jets in total, using just 45 aircraft, including Chinese-made J-10C fighters and JF-17, jets that are considered a generation behind the stealth standards of U.S. F-22 or F-35. But that's not the whole story. The real game-changer wasn't just the aircraft, it was the tech behind them. China's J-10C has a radar detection range of over 240 kilometers, almost 50% greater than India's Rafale. When you pair it with a powerful airborne warning and control system like the ZDK-03, even an older model, you get what's known as a detection overmatch. Translation: enemy jets are spotted long before they can lock weapons, and before their pilots even know they've been targeted. Then comes the PL-15 air-to-air missile, one of the longest-range missiles in modern warfare, with ranges over 200 kilometers. India's jets didn't stand a chance. One by one, they were picked off. Before we continue, if you care about protecting your financial future in a world this unstable, don't wait. Click like and subscribe. Endgame Compass breaks down the global power games affecting your investments, your savings, and your long-term plans. This is the kind of insight mainstream news won't give you. Pakistan claims it only used a fraction of its available firepower. It says it could have taken down 15 jets but held back to avoid escalating the conflict beyond a point of no return. Still, 5 jets fell, including cutting-edge French and Russian machines. So why is this a big deal? Because for decades, American and European weapons dominated global arms markets. But now, we just saw Chinese-designed jets dismantle them, not with brute force, but with systems integration, radar superiority, and long-range precision. And here's the scariest part for the West. This wasn't even China's most advanced tech. Let's zoom out. The U.S. used to be Pakistan's primary supplier. That changed in the early 2000s as Washington cooled on Pakistan's internal politics and nuclear work. China filled the vacuum, not just with jets and missiles, but joint drills, intelligence training, and AI-powered targeting systems. Now, the Pakistani Air Force is essentially a real-world testing ground for China's military-industrial complex. That has serious implications. Countries across Africa, the Middle East, and South America are now second-guessing their multi-billion-dollar American or European defense contracts. So what is a deep-seek moment? Think of it like when the iPhone shifted the entire direction of mobile technology. A deep-seek moment in warfare means a dramatic, undeniable demonstration of capabilities. It causes global customers, governments, and militaries to rethink where real innovation comes from. Right now, Chinese military exports are having that moment. This matters deeply for the United States. Developing nations realize they can get 90% of Western military capability at 40% of the cost. And with fewer political strings attached, the West begins to lose influence. Soft power wanes, strategic alliances fray. When the West sells weapons, it often controls when and how they're used. But when nations buy from China, they get autonomy. That's dangerous for U.S. foreign policy and for global order. The U.S. and Russia both had reasons for encouraging India to escalate. For Washington, it was about containing China and transferring manufacturing. For Moscow, the war effort meant more arms sales as its economy reels from the Ukraine conflict. For both, the conflict served as a pressure valve. Let India test the battlefield while buying Russian or Western weaponry, and maybe expose Chinese limitations. But the result backfired. Instead of exposing weaknesses, the conflict showcased China's tactical superiority. The combination of interoperability between radar, missile, and jet platforms created a battlefield edge that even shocked military analysts in the West. Let's face it, this clash marks a global turning point. If nations no longer rely on Western arms, they gradually reduce their dependency on the West altogether. For American strategy, that's a red flag. Military dominance has always underpinned the U.S. dollar's strength, economic confidence, and geopolitical reach. If our exports become obsolete or overpriced, and the alternative is not Russia, but China, we could see entire regions slip out of Washington's orbit. Already, countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are exploring Chinese defense systems. Even NATO-adjacent countries are browsing. At the heart of this global realignment lies a profound shift. China isn't just producing advanced military hardware. It's engineering a systemic disruption in how warfare, deterrence, and global influence work. This is China's deep-seek moment, a tipping point where technological scale, cost efficiency, and battlefield integration converge to make old playbooks obsolete. The U.S. has long relied on its technological edge and global weapons exports as tools of leverage, reinforcing alliances, projecting power, and buttressing the dollar's dominance. But China is rewriting those rules by flooding the market with affordable, AI-enhanced, interoperable combat systems, from long-range missiles to drone swarms to command networks. Beijing isn't just arming friends, it's reshaping what it means to be a strategic partner. And here's the real risk. Once a government signs up for China's defense ecosystem, the spillover is inevitable. Digital infrastructure, logistics systems, satellite networks, and eventually currency alignment. Military integration becomes economic entanglement. This undermines America's broader strategy of using trade policy, tariffs, and market access as tools of influence. The Pentagon might want deterrence, but the Treasury may soon find fewer allies willing to decouple from a rising tech-integrated China. So what should Washington do? No, it's not just about spending more on weapons. We need to rethink the entire architecture of American power projection. Build alliances around tech co-production, not just arms sales. Embed defense strategy with economic statecraft, including energy, semiconductors, and supply chain guarantees. Compete where it hurts. Offer open, modular military systems that allies can afford and adapt without political strings. Reform outdated arms export controls that make us slower, pricier, and harder to work with. Because the longer we pretend this is just another Cold War arms race, the more we cede strategic gravity to Beijing, not just in Asia, but across Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East. China isn't just building weapons, it's building the future rules of global security. And the longer we delay, the fewer pieces we'll have on the board. What do you think the U.S. should do in response to this China-Pakistan success story? Should Washington engage more in the region, shift its weapons policies, pressure out allies not to buy Chinese arms? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And we'll be collecting the most insightful ones for a future video analysis. And if you value hard analysis like this, real explanations of complex geopolitics and how it affects you, make sure you're subscribed and you've hit that bell. At Endgame Compass, our mission is to bring you straight facts on global power plays, without spin. Until next time, stay sharp, stay informed.